What's going on, everyone? I hope you're having a great Sunday night. Pretty mild out there if you've been out the door recently, and that's because compression warming ahead of that system, or at least that warm front, bringing in that warm Gulf moist air, kind of priming the atmosphere for a little bit of thunderstorm activity. Right now, just off to our northwest. We'll go to Mega Doppler. We'll go right ahead and take a look at that. See what's outside, looking out the window. It's the best way to forecast and nowcast when you're talking about what's going to be happening over the next couple of hours. We can go into a lot of detail. So we finally have some lightning. All right. We'll go to the most recent frame of the radar data. A little bit of lightning. It's almost like these bands of convection. It's, from Grove to Miami and Bonita. Definitely seeing a little bit out there. There is a little bit in Washington County as well. So there's kind of some little bit of showers, a little bit of drizzle across northwest Arkansas. But we are seeing some of this beefier convection, so to speak, in northeast Oklahoma, southwest Missouri. But we will be seeing a little bit more later on. So, what kind of stuff can we expect going on throughout the night? Well, I think this is a little bit different than kind of what we're used to because it is a warm front that is lifting north, and it's been a while that we've seen this kind of warm front act as a lifting mechanism. And so with these, it's important to understand kind of how the precipitation starts out and kind of what the energy might bring once it gets here. And so we'll kind of dive into the details. So we'll go ahead and go to WSI. We'll go to the weather graphics, and we'll take a look at the surface analysis, kind of go from there. We'll take you through all the science and kind of the brain behind the meteorologist, so to speak. So looking at satellite and radar, you can see that warm front just down to our south. And so what you have is this kind of like the jet stream, except it's a little bit, it's not as high. Wrong one. There we go. I took the wrong one. But it's called the 850 millibar, which is a pressure level with a height. And that helps bring in a lot of warm, moist air. And you typically have what's called the nocturnal low-level jet, which is the gush of wind. It's carrying this warm air. And what that does is it adds fuel to the atmosphere for storms, especially ahead of some energy. So we'll go ahead and take my camera off there. If we zoom in here, you can definitely see that lift. So this is kind of what's going on there. Is you have this warm, moist air being lifted up and over this warm front, also known as isentropic upglider, isentropic lift in the world of meteorology. And that's kind of our lifting mechanism. But a little bit later on, we're going to see some energy kind of swing through. It's going to take a while. That's why we say the timing is roughly 2 to 3 in the morning, which is quite a few hours from now. So I'll show you why. We'll take a look at water vapor, which will help you see that a little bit better. So water vapor. So you can see kind of two things. One, you can really see that southwest flow. This is kind of some energy coming in from the southwest. It's this energy that's been hanging out ahead of the big chunk of energy that is up to our north. So this energy with this front will swing through later, but it's this energy out ahead of it that's bringing us the messy convection. So this kind of messy convection is what we're seeing now. Some of this has a chance to get on the stronger side. But again, right now, just kind of some messy convection, and it's not super vertically developed just because there's not that big quick lift. It's just slowly rising. Isentropic upglide. It's just slowly kind of rising. There's some slight lift, but once that energy comes in, it'll help give it a kind of a swift kick, so to speak, and that'll help get some better vertically developed storms. So you can kind of see this on the weather systems. Now, I know this is a model, but this is the initialized frame of the 12Z European or ECMWF model. And there you see that energy just off to our west, but it's out ahead of that vorticity that we do get that lift. So the kind of southwest flow with that energy is bringing the kind of stuff we're seeing right now. But that energy towards the Oklahoma and Texas panhandle, that is when we will see kind of the stronger storms. But the severe weather threat, when that comes through, will kind of vary on what is on the radar. If the atmosphere is overworked with a lot of this messy convection, by the time we get that stronger lift, a lot of the severe weather threats will kind of be diminished because the atmosphere is overworked. There won't be a lot of instability to work with. All the kind of rain-cooled air and the fuel for thunderstorms will kind of all be mixed together, and you won't get as many strong storms that feature a lot of the kind of the risk, the large hail, the super damaging winds. But we do have plenty of shear in place too for keeping these updrafts nice and healthy by kind of giving a slight twist to them. What that does is it's kind of like, think of it like your car, and you have the exhaust go out the back. And how did I think of this analogy earlier? But you kind of have your rain cool air go out the back from the air intake, and so you have your air intake, and then you have your exhaust in the back. Kind of the storm absorbs the air from the outside, and then it goes up, and it's rain cool air that falls out the back. If you absorb that rain cool air, that'll kind of choke off your thunderstorm. And so that kind of shear is important for healthy updrafts. And that's kind of what we do have. I'll show you what I mean. I made a graphic earlier with our new kind of streamline of particles and our wind particles, kind of representing this shear, kind of what I'm talking about. So shear is the change in wind direction with height, but it helps keep helps keep the updrafts healthy. So I know there's a lot going on right here. Let me break it down. This was hard to break down in the newscasts when you only have like 30 minutes. And so this is winds at the surface, is the white lines that you see kind of almost at the bottom, going a little bit slower. And then above that is 500 millibar winds. And blue is slow, yellow is a little bit faster, red is a little bit faster, pink is faster, and white is the fastest. So if I tilt down on the scene camera, kind of show you what I'm talking about, the different levels, this is a little bit higher. I know it's kind of makes it a little bit harder to see, but you can see the winds of the surface are kind of out of the south, and then the winds aloft are kind of out of the southwest. So it's that change in direction with height, that clockwise rotation is what we call veering winds. And what that does is that indicates warm air advection, and that indicates some pretty healthy updrafts when we do see some of that convection, some of that stronger convection a little bit later on. So I'll exit out of that. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I'll go through the risk, but feel free to ask questions away. Pull up one real quick. Yeah, Brendan. Yeah, the SBC put out a mesoscale discussion. 5% a chance of a watch. Yeah, it does mention a marginally large hail. Yeah, it also says watch unlikely, thankfully. So that 5% is not super likely that there will be a severe thunderstorm watch or a tornado watch, which is good to see. So the risk. Let's jump right into the severe weather risk. So we're in the marginal risk. I know it's kind of, almost feels like too late to mention the risk, but for a very basic sense of what to expect tonight, some strong, possibly severe storms are going to be marginal. It's going to be marginal whether they reach that severe threshold or not. Hence why the area is in that marginal, that 1 out of 5 risk. And again, the timing, 11 p.m. to Sunday. We'll jump to the future track in a little bit, but just kind of wanted to give you the setup. And all threats technically are all on the table, but they're all on the very low end, just because of that messy convection that I talked about earlier. So we'll look at the severe weather threats. So the tornadoes, very, very low end. We are in that 2% area, most of the weather coverage area, because there is just a sufficient amount of shear, that change in direction with height that we talked about. There's sufficient shear, but it's the instability and the bases of these storms. A lot of these storms are going to be tapping into instability that's elevated. It's not super low. It's not a surface-based storm, so it doesn't have these super low bases, so it's not able to tap in to, I guess, that full potential and that full fuel kind of at the surface. And then large hail. I say large, but I mean dime size is kind of what I'm thinking. Maybe it might reach just shy of that 1 inch, that quarter-sized hail, and then damaging winds. Could see some strong winds, especially if we get that organized. I took the wrong one again. If we get that organized line coming through, that's where we are likely to see some of those stronger winds. Yeah, Edward's right. Do not let the marginal risk fool you. Storms, they don't follow colors. We've seen that quite a few times, especially in Northwest Arkansas, where we're like in between risk and then something happens and they didn't catch it. But yeah, we'll go back to Mega Doppler. So any other questions? Yeah, Brennan, still the 2%. what I just checked recently, just before the 9 o'clock show. Um, are we still getting winter weather this week? Well, we'll be getting winter like temperatures towards the end of, I guess, since it's Sunday, towards the end of this week. That's when we'll get some much more seasonable temperatures. But no winter weather is in the forecast. Alex says, are we expecting anything severe? Excuse me. Not really. It's everything's on the low end as of right now, but we'll definitely watch it once we get more instability transported further north. A lot of it was further south in like south central Arkansas and southeast Oklahoma, but it'll slowly work its way towards the north. What time is this all supposed to happen in the Harrison area? I know a lot of people probably on the edge of their seats with bated breath, wondering what time everything is going to happen. So we'll look at the future track there. It's actually the extended. We'll go to the kind of shorter range so we can get the most recent updated model. Well, clearly that's not really what's going on. That's not representative of what's going on in this model. It is kind of showing the bands of convection in northeast Oklahoma. Excuse me, I need some water. As we go throughout the night, expecting a little bit of uptick and maybe some more thunderstorms. And then heading into 2 o'clock, still has a lot of it to the north. And then some of that will kind of redevelop and translate downwards. And then heading into Monday morning, it's kind of when the line's coming through. I'm going to go grab some water real quick. My goodness, I'm choked up. All right, my goodness. All right, much better. Woo. All right, we'll go back to the future track. All right, I'll kind of step through that again. Sorry about that, guys. Man. All right, so it's kind of what's going on now. You can see it's not really representative of what's going on. It still kind of has some of those isolated bands of convection that are in northeast Oklahoma, but it does show a little bit more development in northwest Arkansas in the next 20 minutes, which that's not really happening. Right now, we're just seeing some showers in northwest Arkansas that you see there. Man. And then 1:30, so this stuff is going to come from the south and lift northward. That's when we can see a little bit more thunderstorm activity. And then kind of stepping through this 3 o'clock, 3:30, 4, 5 o'clock. That's when the kind of that other piece of energy is going to swing through. My goodness. I don't know why I'm coughing. Maybe it's because I don't talk that much for this long. But that's kind of a general idea of kind of what to expect. Some kind of messy convection to start, maybe a little bit of thunderstorms with that. And then that other piece of energy is going to swing through. that'll bring some more thunderstorms right around 4 o'clock. Golly, yeah, Dwayne, man, I don't know. I am just coughing, throwing a coughing fit over here. All right. So someone was asking about the dew points. Boy, those dew points, man. 60 degrees in Fayetteville in December, middle of December, 60-degree dew points. If you had told me that, I'd been like, man, wow. It's pretty impressive. But yeah, it's definitely moist outside. And it's nice fuel for some thunderstorms. Here's kind of the timing for Northwest Arkansas. Back to that. There you see a 90% chance. 3, maybe even 4 o'clock, and then 5 o'clock. Then things kind of wind down as that boundary pushes through because you'll have dry air. And dry sinking air is called subsidence, and that'll kind of kill everything off a little bit. And then for the river valley, everything's shifted just by a little bit, just because it's going to take a little bit more time for that boundary to get there. So still right around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Let's see. Any other questions? Let's see. Go back to make it Doppler. All right. So still not seeing a whole lot of thunder. A whole lot of lightning with this. A little humid and mild in Fort Smith, says Tommy. Yeah, definitely is. I mean, we're talking dew points in the 60s. Whew, it feels kind of like a early fall kind of night, like early September. Like football is right around the corner of getting started. Yeah, it feels doesn't feel like the middle of December, that's for sure. Normal morning lows in the River Valley are supposed to be right around freezing. Yeah, 32, 28 Northwest Arkansas. Normal highs are supposed to be in the low 50s. Hey, there's some thunder. A little bit of lightning. See if we can see any of these on any of our cameras. Cooper Elementary camera. See if there's any lightning. Let's see. Yeah, figured probably wouldn't get any. Lightning is always camera shy. Yeah, there's the timing. And I don't want to make this like super long, just because like you'll be sitting here for a while before things like really get going. But just in case anything isolated, it had the chance to become severe. So that's kind of what I wanted to hop on. And of course, before you guys go to bed, just kind of give you an update on kind of what to expect. So right around 3, 4 o'clock is when probably gonna get some of the stronger storms. Just because right now we're seeing kind of this messy convection with that warm front. During severe days, do you, Zach and Peyton, well, I am Peyton, probably mean Josh and or Dan, do we stay behind tornadoes or in front of tornadoes? You know, in terms of like actual storm chasing, personally, I would like to be straight south of the tornado, like just straight south of it. There's kind of different positions depending on kind of what you want to see and what you expect, kind of how you want to move. You can be just on the east side, just on the south side, or just on the southwest side. But it's kind of where you want to be in relation to the tornado. Personally, I think it's personally I'd want to be behind, kind of follow it, and then what damage that does make, you can go in and go help those people after. Because yeah, you've seen the tornado, then it turns into search and rescue and helping others. It's a good question. Yeah, you know, say Josh. Yeah, We watched Twisters. Yeah. Woo! The beginning scene when they're under the overpass. Definitely don't want to be under the overpass. So these storms just going to be scattered for most of the day. Man, this has actually picked up a lot of lightning. Almost like rapidly intensifying. Let me see if they're talking about that in the Springfield Slack. Probably not quite. It is going to be scattered. They are going to be scattered throughout the night. It'll be a little bit more organized a little bit later on. They're not talking about it. It'll be a little bit more organized during the kind of morning time frame, just before sunrise. Well, I guess a couple hours before sunrise. Those can be, stronger. Those will have a little bit more kind of oomph to them, pack a little bit more of a punch compared to what we're seeing right now. But these I wouldn't be surprised if these has some pretty gusty winds, Southwest Missouri. Let's see the base velocity. 43 mile per hour winds, 50, 54, 55. So it's got some fairly gusty winds with it. Granted, that is 5,100 feet in the air. No thunder with these, just some moderate rain showers. Nothing to worry about right now, but probably once we get a little bit of help from that energy that's just off to the northwest, that'll probably kick things into high gear a little bit, and the storms will really try to get going. Any other questions? Yeah, long range looks like a pretty mild December. Yeah, unfortunately. Looks like we're going to be warmer than normal. Which kind of stinks. Yeah, this isn't developing into anything nowhere close to May 26th. I will remember almost every detail about the mesoanalysis from that day. Sarah, is this happening right now? Yes, this is happening right now. And I can show you what might happen as we go throughout the night. All right. So, not super representative of what's going on. So let me get in a similar view. Here's a mega Doppler. And here's the model. Mega Doppler model. It's not bad. It's not bad on the convection that's going on, right around the Huntsville and Jasper. It's kind of missing out on this, but it does have the kind of strong storm a little bit off, but it does have it. So go throughout the night. It's going to become a little bit more scattered. Yeah. And that'll be right around 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And then heading into 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, we're going to see maybe a little bit of lighting up of the rain a little bit. And then as the boundary kind of pushes through, we'll see some storms. Actually, I think the model just changed to the most recent run. Yeah, because it's not super beefy now. It still has some organized kind of convection, but part of me thinks this isn't going to be too bad. Famous last words. I know, but and the reason for that, we always try to think of what can be the failure mode. And some of the energy might be lagging back a little bit, but it seems like we have a good amount of energy over us right now. Good amount of mixed layer cape, that's fuel for thunderstorms. Pretty sufficient shear, 35 knots. And it is it's probably, I would say, making an angle sort of like this. So if you have the wind shear going like this, storms are going like this, it's not quite that 90-degree angle for like QLCS tornadoes, but there's a good amount of shear. So these are going to be some pretty healthy updrafts. I'll have to watch anything, honestly. Like this kind of got up kind of fast. Does that have any hail with it? maybe a little bit. Let us know if you are watching from Anderson. Maybe you might see a little bit of hail. Have to let us know. Have to jump on and tell us. Seems like the bulk of the stuff is up to the north, a little bit to the south. This was in the river valley earlier. Let me play a loop. Show you what happened over the last hour. So this must be kind of where the warm front is. That's where this lift is happening. And it'll slowly rise a little bit. The warm front, and the cold front will meet up with it, and then we'll probably likely have those stronger storms 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Is sleep something that should happen, or do you need to make coffee? Yeah, you can go to sleep. I mean, yeah, you might have a couple loud booms that might wake you up, but everything's on the very low end. Just have your phone on, have your Weather Authority app with the alerts, and we'll let you know. They'll definitely send out an alert if there is a severe thunderstorm warning or anything of that nature. But yeah, everything's gonna be quiet right now, but things again could get noisy later on. So you might be thinking, "Oh, this is just nothing, blow it off, just go to bed." Um, you can go to bed, but I would leave your phone on for the alerts or have the weather radio on standby. Or if you have weather call next gen, they'll call you. But again, gotta have your phone like off of silent to make noise. Just in case things get just a little noisy in the morning hours around 4:30, 5 o'clock. Yeah, there was a couple loud booms the other day. When was that? I don't know. Yeah, it was like 6 day working in a row. When was that? When was that rainstorms? I think it was like 2 days ago, maybe. But yeah, there were some fairly loud ones. Let's see. Let's look at some of these. And we can look at kind of long range too. Don't want to keep this too long, but I want to give you all the information you can to be prepared. Hmm. How high are these storms? Oh, they're getting up there. 30, 40,000 feet. Hmm. Britton asks, how's Marble looking? Well, nothing going on right now. Again, I am using the Tulsa radar, so Portsmouth radar might be better, but still, showers to the south might develop into some thunderstorms. Because I mean, there's nothing that's stopping them as of right now, but uh, likely not. These are not likely going to become severe, so that's good. This is really the only thing that has a lot of thunder. That's the strongest thing kind of in the area by far. Yeah, maybe besides this. Yeah. As far as hail, this is about it. Just a little pea-sized hail. Hmm. And there's another product that I'm kind of doing some research on called linear hail differential reflectivity. So it kind of can give you an idea on what size hail is falling and actually making it to the ground. Because the product we use right now shows like maximum estimated hail size, and so that can often overdo it. But been doing some research on this product called linear differential hail reflectivity. So it can kind of show you. There's like the banner with it. Um, Kind of shows you what is actually making it to the ground. So I'll go back a few frames, and it is like interpolated. So it takes a couple frames, kind of estimates, and gives an output there. So there you see P possible marble size, and now still showing just like P size, just barely picking up a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of cool. Still doing some research on it. Maybe there's some P size hail that might be falling in near Joplin. Of course, it's probably a better idea to use Springfield radar or a closer radar. But yeah, pretty cool. Just kind of always trying to do research, trying to make everything better and help you and help communicate what is actually going on outside. Hmm. If you have any questions, let me know. I can go through long range, go through the 7 day, anything you might actually, yeah, we'll look at long range. We'll look at beyond the 7 day. So, beyond the 7 day, we already know, system coming in Tuesday night until Wednesday, bringing some rain, just rain, maybe a rumble of thunder or two. Then beyond that, heading into next weekend, things gonna get pretty quiet. So what is beyond that? So over the next 6 to 10 days, possibly drier than normal, and you'll notice up in there, up in the yellow, up at the top of the screen, December 25th. Yeah, possibly drier than normal. I think there might be some rain, maybe just before Christmas Eve or on Christmas Eve, um, kind of around there. But or who knows? Models may shift things quite a bit by a couple days, or take it out completely because that happens too. Um, but I think there might be maybe a little system that tries to come through. At least models think the system's trying to come through and bring some rain on the 23rd or 24th. As far as temperatures, and that's kind of neutral. So, good chance of being normal temperatures, which upper 40s for highs, morning lows below freezing, and that's for Northwest Arkansas. And oh boy, wait until you see the 8 to 14 day outlook. Rest of December, warmer than normal. And this changes quite a bit, but I think we will definitely see kind of a warming trend. But pretty seasonable for next several days after Tuesday. So, what is a good question, Brendan? Am I concerned, or how concerned are you? Not super concerned. Not really concerned. Some more development. We'll go back a few frames. Some stuff popping up right along that boundary. All right. Not super concerned at the moment, or for the next hour or two, but in about 3 hours, I might be, not worried about the severe weather, but there could be some severe weather, but still nothing to worry about. I mean, again, marginal severe storms. I mean, I do think these storms will be just barely severe criteria if they do become severe. Um, so that's why I'm not super concerned. Yeah, it's a little noisy. Might wake you up. Might wake the dogs up, the kids up. I'm not super concerned. Well, there's a question, not necessarily weather related, but did I catch any games today? Um, yeah, I caught some of the games. Being a Fox station, we do have some of that. So I had some of it on while I was forecasting and making the app update and writing the weather blog. Eagles and Steelers. That was a good one until the end. Sunday night football game on KNWA. That was a good one. Saw the newscast after that. If you tuned in, thanks for tuning in after the game. I know Dan's probably proud. Go Pack Go! As the Cheeseheads go into Seattle and win. But yeah, I didn't watch much of the Texans game. I wish I did. Big Texans fan. Edward, what's your favorite team? They lost. Who is that? No, I did not catch WWE Saturday night main event. I'm disappointed they took what was it, SmackDown off of Fox. Loved watching that on Fridays here, especially with everybody. Oh yeah, the Lions. I know, man. Yeah, the Lions are good this year. Of course, I'm a huge Dan Campbell fan, former Texas A&M football player. Go Aggies, gig 'em. All right. So yeah, if you're just tuning in, watching some storms developing, not super concerned as of right now. So the immediate threat, there is none. But 3, 4 o'clock, that's when we will see that threat kind of creep back up. But for the most part, everything's very low in threat. Not worried about it at all. I will say there are, almost fairly good conditions, a little bit shy of good conditions for QLCS tornadoes. So it shows you do have enough spin, have a little bit of instability, just not a whole lot. I think some of that energy is lagging back just a little bit. Time to put bricks on the inflatables. Well, they act as a parachute. They could easily take off, and especially because it could get pretty gusty at times. Might want to. Oh yeah, the Falcons tomorrow. That's gonna be a good game. There's quite a few good games. I feel like the season gets better and better as we get closer towards the end. Like I'm excited for Chiefs Texans. Be a fun one. Huh. I'll go ahead and put this into motion. Where is that? But yeah, feel free to ask away. Good question. Do you know if they ever found pictures of the main tornado indicator, like near peak width at least? So, Mason, what I can show you is the track and what we have for that. I can show you the report and then I can show you the track. So, we'll do that. So, there were two. We'll start with the first one. The first one indicator on May 26th, I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, Mason, right? So the Decatur one, the first one, the big one, that was the EF3, 3,200 yards wide. That is 1.8 miles, I believe, or just close to that. And then the second tornado on May 26th in Decatur, that one was only 650 yards wide. So, and that was an EF too. But yeah, those are the widths, and I can show you the path. These are the preliminary paths, actually. Yeah, the big one, 3,200 yards wide. So these are our preliminary paths. Here were the actual paths. Zoom in here. So, almost got that really well. So they can kind of see the contours of the EF3 damage, the EF2 damage, and the EF1 damage. There on the screen. Let me take myself off. But yeah, so those were the those were the two tornadoes, Mason. Hope that answers your question, Sarah. Am I watching the weather all night? That's not my plan. To watch the weather all night, but I do Okay, my plan is to watch the weather all night, but not stream all night because if I just go for hours of nothing going on, well, that's kind of pointless, right? But I will be watching on. So whenever I do think, okay, we've been on the stream long enough, uh, got the word out there, then I'll just kind of sit back and watch, see what happens. Um, Especially come 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on it, but not a stream and an eye on it. If that makes sense. So we'll be watching it for sure. You can never let your guard down, especially in Northwest Arkansas. Hmm. Let's go through the 7 day, and then we could probably get closer to wrapping things up, at least for the time being. Unless anyone has any questions or just jumping on the fabulous 7 day. There it is. Um, so a couple of systems. Another one Tuesday night into Wednesday. That's mainly just going to bring, just some rain showers. It's going to be light and moderate with occasional heavy downpours, and then lighting up back again from Wednesday morning with another cold front. That's got some colder air with it. The big time cold air mass going to be dropping down. That's going to cool us off pretty significantly. So you see the morning low on Wednesday of 40 and then 25 on Thursday. And so it's actually going to drop pretty significantly Wednesday afternoon. And then more seasonable temperatures towards next weekend with morning lows in the middle 20s, dropping down in lower 20s in Northwest Arkansas, highs in the middle to upper 40s. And I need to pop the comment back. I meant to go to the next 7 day. In the River Valley, middle 20s by next weekend, highs in the middle 50s, lower 50s, and then the upper 40s. For anyone just tuning in, I know Heather just hopped on. I know Shannon just hopped on. So we'll kind of run through stuff again for anyone that just hopped on. All right. So actually, we'll start with Mega Doppler. Right now, watching a little bit of showers in Washington County and Madison County. Actually, a little bit of development starting to pick up a little bit, starting to become a little bit more widespread, at least part of this radar loop. There's some base thunderstorms. See some more going on down there in southern LaFleur County. Southwest Missouri, northeast Oklahoma. That's where the kind of stronger storms are as of right now. You see those are moving towards the northeast. So anything that we'll have to watch towards our area will likely come from down here or even further south. But as we go closer or farther out in time, then we'll have to watch that kind of boundary swing through and bring some strong storms, which leads us to the future track. And so here's what to expect. So kind of some convection. Let's look at a different model, because this one doesn't seem to be handling stuff that well. It's a little bit too aggressive. Let's try this one. Is this better? Oh, this is a little bit better. So as we go throughout the night, there's that line coming through. That's where the stronger storms are going to be. So it seems like Southwest Missouri might be getting a little bit more of the strong storms. For us, I really don't think we have much to worry about. Just some scattered thunderstorms. That's what's expected. And that's that boundary pushing through. We're already at 8 o'clock in the morning. Might see a little bit of redevelopment as we get some that rapid daytime heating. But for the most part, things aren't going to be too bad. So I'm not super worried with this. I think there could be, some thunderstorms and maybe even some strong thunderstorms, but severe weather threat is really low. I'll go back. And again, things are going to be kind of quiet. And we're not even expecting a ton of rain either. I'll show you how much rain we might get from this. I'll let those contours load. Takes a while. All right, so some heavier swaths. That's likely from the rain that's going on right now in southern Washington County and Madison County. But for the most part, not a whole lot of rain either. All right. Back to Mega Doppler. Why are the streams or storms? I'm on the stream. Coming from the south. Well, the reason they're coming from the south is because of their lifting mechanism. All storms, all modes of convection are from a lifting mechanism. That's kind of the ingredients for storms. You need a lifting mechanism. And ours is a warm front. So the warm front's moving from the, how's this oriented on your screen here? From the southwest towards the northeast. That's why the storms are moving that way, because the warm front is our lifting mechanism. And at 850 millibars, which is about 1.5 miles above your head, or I think more so closer to 1.5 kilometers, it's coming from the south, bringing in a lot of moisture, and that is kind of aiding in that lift. It's called isentropic upglide or isentropic lift, where you have this warm, moist air lifting up and over a boundary, and it's bringing those showers. So that's kind of why they're coming from the south and kind of moving towards the northeast. They're going up and over that warm front. How accurate is the Weather Authority apps radar? So most apps, and this is, Weather Channel, AccuWeather. There's two things. There's actual real-time NextRad. It's a Twister quote. There's radar data, which is Mega Doppler. This is straight radar data. This is what you're getting from the KINX Tulsa radar, and it's in 1 hour previous loop. Whereas in all weather apps, you'll have an interpolation of what's going on the radar, blending that in with a model or a future track, calling it future radar. So it's like what radar could look like, which is just the future track. So our app uses the graph model, the GRAF, which is actually, I think you can change models. I think, let me look here, but I think it might be the graph of the HRRR model. So it kind of depends. And I think it also switches to long range, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, ours uses the graph. Yeah, and you can change all the different map types. Yeah, so there's real radar, and then there's future track. So most apps will have real radar data, and then kind of interpolate that with the model and show you future radar. So that's kind of how weather apps work. That's how ours work. So yes, at times it can be accurate, but sometimes it might not be as accurate because it's just a model, and no model is right all the time. Shanna says, do we have storms coming through Lowell? As of right now, no, but later on, a little bit. Some rumbles of thunder not out of the question. I have a couple of loud booms, but shouldn't be anything to worry about. Also, I can show you the future track. Not that one, that's for sure. That model is trash. And what makes a model trash? Well, it's just how it does with the initial conditions and plugs those numbers into equations and spits out an output, or spits an output out. All right, so let's go there. So here's the future track. This is the graph model. 1 o'clock. There's 2 o'clock. Excuse me. There's 3 o'clock. So still just kind of regular old run-of-the-mill thunderstorms, maybe a little bit. There might be some that start to pick up a little bit. That might be a little bit on the more intense side, but it's going to be just shy of severe criteria, with maybe 1 or 2 that might become severe, especially looking up into southwest Missouri, at least according to this model. Hello. No, yeah, just wait just a little bit. Thank you. There's 6, 7 o'clock as that line is coming through. So, things aren't gonna be super crazy. Me personally, I wouldn't lose sleep over it, but I know a lot of people, with all the recent storms that have gone on this year, might have trouble sleeping. But rest assured, no pun intended there, but you should have a pretty good night of sleep. It's kind of the soothing thunderstorms, as I like to think. Go back to Mega Doppler here. Actually seeing some stuff start to pick up in Delaware County. Not seeing any lightning with this, but definitely seeing some development. It's kind of all along this kind of piece here. And we'll go back and compare that to the satellite radar, and you can see why. Because the system is probably realistically kind of sliding over that way, and this part is moving towards the northeast, and part of it might actually be stalling out a little bit. So it might be a little bit of a stationary front, maybe a little bit of a cold front. But yeah, still nothing to really worry about. Edward says, "Have you ever seen a snow NATO? Kind of want to see that one in person." No, but there was. I think there was like what they called a snow NATO last year in Colorado, I think. But I did see, was it last year or 2 years ago, like a tornado up in the Rockies. Like it was clear as day, and I was like, "Whoa, that's weird." Feels like a weird place to see it. I have to get some more water. Let's see. Get the meso-analysis. All right. So I could pop this up, and I could share it. The meso-analysis kind of tells us what's going on. We kind of look at the conditions. Meso-analysis. All right. How about that? All right. So this is the SPC meso-analysis, and what this is plotting is 0 to 3 kilometer mixed layer CAPE, or convective available potential energy. This is kind of the fuel source that our storms will be working with. Those are the contours you see on the map. And then the blue lines, that's our shear vector. So that's kind of the change in winds with height. What is that kind of direction? And what is that speed with those wind barbs? So each long dash is 10 knots, and each small dash is 5 knots. So where you see, I'll go to Mega Doppler. I'll kind of flash back and forth, and don't mind it auto refreshing in the background. But the stronger storms are in southwest Missouri, because that's where the greater fuel is. That's where there's more fuel, 125 joules per kilogram of mixed layer CAPE. So that's how much fuel is in the air column. That's where there's more fuel. And you can see over us, there's a little bit less. So that's why we're still seeing a little bit of activity, but not like anything they're seeing in southwest Missouri. So that's kind of stuff we can look at in the meso-analysis, see what's going on right now, to kind of see what we might be getting ourselves into a little bit further down the line. Ground already wet in Bentonville. Yep, it's probably a little shower. Probably a little bit of drizzle in there too. See how it's real messy? This eats up a lot of the fuel for anything that comes through that may be more organized down the road. So this kind of overworks the atmosphere, kind of mixes it all up. And so the ingredients are clear cut and not going to be super stout or super strong storms, which is good. It's what we like to hear, especially on a Sunday night. You got work tomorrow. Definitely don't need a sleepless night because of some storms. But any questions? Fire away. We going just a little bit longer. Let's see, been going 58 minutes. Probably go hour and 10 minutes. And then keep an eye on it and work on some graphics, cook stuff up. All right. I've shown this in a while. I can show you the kind of 3 panel of risks. Shows the tornado, the large hail, and the damaging winds, which they just took out. That's fantastic. That's good news, right? Either. Oh, well, okay. This, a lot of y'all are gonna like this. Marginal threat gone. Goodbye. They just took it out completely. Took out all the threats. Yeah, there's your risk. So non-severe thunderstorms expected through the morning time frame. And this is going to be after. This is going to be for anything that's after 7. Non-severe storms expected, but through tonight there still might be some. So that's weird that updated. I guess it is time. It is 6D. The valid one is still the marginal risk, with all those hazards. But because the newest day 1 that's issued at 6Z, which is midnight, or just a little after, still in that marginal risk. So kind of a half false alarm, but at the same time, I'm not really expecting any severe weather, honestly. Things aren't going to be super strong just because, I mean, there's not a whole lot of instability to work with. Yeah, we have a lot of spin in the atmosphere. Cool, great. But if you don't have that energy, you don't have that strong lift, you're not going to get strong storms. You definitely need the upper level support. That plays a big role, too. Huge role. Tom just hopped on. Still going to get it in Farmington. Well, Tom, kind of in luck. There's not going to be anything super crazy expected. Show you here on the future track. Come on, load. Any day. All right. So it's kind of what's going on right now. We can kind of compare this to Mega Doppler. I think that's a good idea to kind of compare the models to what's going on. So there's Mega Doppler. There's the models. Mega Doppler, models. So honestly, the models are a little bit weaker, but the other model, the HRRR, was too aggressive. So it's like you got to find the happy medium. So wrong thing. All right. So see, this one's way too aggressive. Like, really? That's not what's going on. Hype cast. So Mega Doppler, computer model. It's not terrible. It's a little bit aggressive with the stuff going on, in Franklin County. A little aggressive with that, but in Northeast Oklahoma, Southwest Missouri, it's not doing too bad with that. So we'll show you what to expect as we step out in time here. So there's 2:30, 3 o'clock. See, it's showing a pretty nasty line. It's going to be coming through 4 o'clock. I have my doubts about that just because the atmosphere is going to be overworked. And there's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, really shifting later and later, too. There's 8 o'clock. 9 o'clock still showing storms on the radar. I think that's something models struggle with a lot. Stuff, they leave stuff on the screen, so to speak, way too long. So it'll be somewhere in between the ultra weak graph model and the over aggressive HRRR, leaving us with marginally severe thunderstorms. No, I don't think there's really any threat that you have to worry about. Yeah, you'd be like, man, really coming down out there. These are some really gusty winds. Or some really loud raindrops. Is that hail? Maybe it is. Maybe a little bit of small hail, but you shouldn't really have anything to worry about. Might wake you up, might keep you up, unfortunately. Um, but it's not going to be anything super crazy, which is good. Let's see. Let me show you how much fuel there is. Here's kind of the fuel for thunderstorms. Very low end. So not a whole lot of fuel for thunderstorms. That's one of the key ingredients. You need moisture. We have that. You need instability, which is fuel. Don't really have a whole lot of that. You need lift, which right now we have that warm front, and then eventually kind of that system that swings through. Excuse me. And then you need shear, which we have plenty of that. So we're kind of lacking the instability, and we're kind of lacking the lift a little bit. We'll see a little bit of lift come through. I can show you another thing that we call the composite map, also known as the comp map. And this is kind of shows, this kind of can show energy, the spin. Let me break it down. All right, just switch to this. Boom. All right. So what you're seeing on your screen is what's called the composite map. The blue lines, I believe, are ISO heights at the 500 millibar level, which is pretty high up there. And the kind of red dashed contours, that's your absolute vorticity. So wherever you see that contour, you see the 12, and let's see, 8, 16. Obviously, the higher the number, the stronger the spin in the atmosphere. That's a good way to think about it. And so you have a little bit of spin over us. That's why we're seeing that convection, but a lot of the energy lagging back. And that is what is expected to get here. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the jet stream. That's kind of the steering flow, and you'll kind of see where this energy is going. So you will see that we will be having some more energy. I know it's kind of messy to look at. So you see the jet stream overlaid on the energy, and I can pop it on and off. So there's the energy over us, and I look towards the Oklahoma and Texas Panhandle with the jet stream. So now we'll be passing to our north. But what about all that energy in kind of the West Texas area? That'll be making its way here. That kind of helps provide some more of that lift. And also, what you might notice, I might have to zoom in here, but you might be seeing a kind of light blue contour. That's where you have more jet stream energy. So if you have stronger jet stream energy, that's where you're going to have some stronger lift, and that's also to the north. So we still have some energy that will be coming in, no doubt about that. We'll probably see more thunderstorms as the night goes on, but because the atmosphere will be overworked, severe threat is just low overall, which is good. Mom lives in Tulsa, Edward, and you're wondering what it's like over there. Well, I'll show you. So gonna be seeing a little bit, some moderate to heavy showers in the next little bit, and brief heavy downpours possible. No lightning with this at all. Wonder if there's any hail with this even as well. That was the hail we saw earlier. Not really anything. And it's kind of weak sauce for now. Things, might pick up a little bit. Might be some rain storms when Josh Rugger comes in later this morning. It's 12:30. All right. Probably go for another 2 minutes. We'll go to the 7-day. If you have any questions, you can ask them. Oh. But yeah, I didn't want to keep this too long. Didn't want to keep everyone up waiting, just waiting and waiting and waiting for storms. But I'll keep an eye out on it. Go to 7-day. I'll keep a close eye on it, and I'll hop back on if I see a severe weather threat starting to increase. As of right now, not really. All right. No, accident again. Meant to hit this one. That space bar. All right. So we do have some rain. Monday morning commute gonna be a little bit wet. Might want to give yourself extra few minutes because you know how the drivers are in Northwest Arkansas when it rains. There's some crazy drivers out there, so might want to give yourself just a couple more minutes. Another system coming in Tuesday night into Wednesday. That's just gonna be some showers, some cold air for sure, and then pretty chilly mornings thereafter. And in the River Valley, same as well. So we do have a rainy start to the week. The outlook looks good for the weekend. Plenty of sunshine, but it's going to be colder than it looks. Whew. Oh, the music that plays when you add on the 2 days later, that is the official NBC chime. You can look it up. I mean, I saw videos promoting 50 years or 75 or 100 years, whatever, of NBC. Showing back in the 50s, it was black and white. They had a guy hit the chimes. Doom, doom, doom. Pretty cool. It's the NBC chime. It only plays on KNWA to remind you that you're watching NBC. All right, Alex. So the future track you just showed and the Weather Authority app are both the HRRR because they look different, I think, comparatively, especially around 5 a.m. Oh, dude, don't worry about it. So let me pull up my app. Yes, it's gonna look a little different. I want to say it actually says the model in the app. Can't remember. Trying to find it. Yeah, I think it just has to do with the resolution of putting it on a phone app so it doesn't lag a whole bunch. I think it's decreased in that resolution for the phone app, for the Weather Authority app, so that way it doesn't lag a whole lot with a phone because phone a little bit different than a computer. So I think that's why. It's my guess. But yeah, I see what you mean. Looks a little bit different. Lower resolution for sure. But it's either the graph or the HRRR. I'll have to double check. Brennan, yeah, you can go to sleep with Marvel. Sounds like a good idea. Again, Marvel not really getting anything right now. Gonna get some rain, maybe some rumbles of thunder later. There's the outside chance it might wake you up, but I think you'd be able to go back to sleep, hopefully. Hey, when I wake up 20 minutes before my alarm, and it's just there's no point. I can't go back to sleep. But we'll see. We definitely will see some more thunderstorms as the night goes on. Pretty low severe weather threat. Pop the meso analysis back up. or at least have that on over here so I can keep a close eye on it. What was that? All right. Can't wait for March, May at chasing. Oh man, I would love to chase. A chasecation. Use all my vacation days, in May, just go chase for a week. Doesn't matter where. No, that's can't wait for severe weather season. It is stressful at some times, but also you're just reminded of the awe and the true power of Mother Nature. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. You can't put the what are they using, twisters, the diaper powder, whatever, in it to suck up all the moisture. So it's cool to study it, and it's an ever evolving thing, and our job is to get better and better at communicating it as we change, as we change as weather changes over time. Because there are going to be ebbs and flows of more active, less active. Um, so it's always an evolving thing. It's an evolving art. I like to see it. Definitely some art to it. All right. 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna end the stream. Edward, explain the truck at the beginning of Twisters. Their truck. Oh, like the trailer? Well, their trailer tipped over, right? And then that caused them to wreck. Truck got sucked up by the tornado. I'm playing it in my head. But what about the truck in Twisters? Is that realistic? Because it definitely is. All is quiet on the Western Front for the most part. A little bit noisy in Southwest Missouri, so not quite there, but quiet here on this Western Front and on the Western Front of the weather coverage area. Yeah, Edward, it is realistic, Vehicles can get picked up by a tornado, for sure. The sand in the tank. You're talking about the powder that they claim can suck up all the moisture? That is not realistic. You would need an insane amount. That is not feasible. Or realistic. All right. Well, about to go ahead and wrap things up for now. But if there is severe weather, not only will you get an alert, but I will hop back on the stream and we'll do this all again. Thank you for watching, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your night, or I guess great rest of your morning. It's 12:40. Hope you have a great day at work and or school. And congratulations to all the people who graduated from the University of Arkansas. I know they had the commencement ceremonies yesterday. Sorry they were a little rainy, a little bit soggy, but hopefully things turned out good. And congratulations again to everyone who recently graduated, not only at the University of Arkansas, but anyone that graduated over this past weekend for, I guess, fall or winter commencements, whatever you want to call it. Congratulations. All that hard work pays off. Definitely does. But thank you for tuning in, and we'll definitely keep in touch. Till then, have a great rest of your Monday. See you then.